Every year, my business has basically doubled in size. This year, I'm going to hit around $30 million of sales, and my eventual goal is to hit $100 million a year. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Dan, 1000 ASINs, and I'm here with the other coaches of ECG Wholesale, Jack and Kenny, and we're just going to chop it up today, talk about all of our backgrounds in arbitrage. All three of us did start in arbitrage, eventually transitioned to wholesale and brand direct, and we're going to talk about our own personal experiences and why we made the switch, and just have a very casual conversation about where we've all been and where we're all going. So yeah, kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Awesome. Awesome. With that, on that note, do you want to just give a quick high level overview of your background, where you begun, where you currently are, why you got into Amazon, everything of that nature, and then we'll go to Kenny, then myself.
Yeah, sure. So I've been selling on Amazon for 7 years now, which I guess makes me somewhat of a veteran in the Amazon space. And yeah, before Amazon, I was a real estate agent, just kind of tired of doing that. So looked for something else, watched a YouTube video about how to sell on Amazon, and dove in with RA and then eventually OA. And then I transitioned into wholesale about 5 years ago. And every year, my business has basically doubled in size to the point where this year I'm going to hit probably around $30 million of sales. And my eventual goal is to hit $100 million a year of sales within 5 years. So hopefully can get there. And that's me.
Let's go. It's awesome. Kenny, take us away.
Yes. So I'm Kenny. I started doing e-commerce stuff back in high school when I was 17. Started with eBay, made some quick money on that. It was short-lived, but I saw the opportunity of the e-commerce space. So then I transitioned over to Amazon, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, joined a few groups, met some cool people who kind of held my hand through the beginnings of it, and then I just ran with it. Did a lot of RA, a little bit of OA, and then transitioned to wholesale as of end of last year.
Awesome. And how much do you think you'll make through Brand Direct this year, if you don't mind me asking?
This year, about 2 to 3 million off a
Two,
few
3 million.
accounts.
And then take home, what do you think you'll take home off that?
Take home probably 3 to 500,000
Three to
minimum.
500,000. Pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's
Awesome. Well, my name's Jack. I started in the e-commerce space about 5 years ago. I got into this space through flipping shoes. Started with this idea of brick flipping, getting shoes from online retailers, shipping them to myself, then selling to StockX and Goat and platforms like that. Did that for about 6 months and then went to Amazon. Started the retail arbitrage. Similar thing with shoes, going to outlets, getting Nike shoes, Adidas shoes, Converse and outlets and stuff like that. Buying a bunch up there, selling to Amazon. Did that for about a year, and then went to online arbitrage for about 2 years. That's when I started a coaching program, BCG Arbitrage. Did that for about a year. We had about 300 clients in that group, and I was coaching them on how to do what I was doing through online arbitrage. And then finally went to wholesale under Dan's mentorship. I was fortunate enough to be Dan's first student, and then we came together and then sparked up BCG Wholesale, which is the course in the coaching program that we're pushing forward today. We have about 350 clients in BCG Wholesale to date. So I've coached for about 600 or so Amazon sellers throughout the last 2.5 years. And so a large portion of what I do day to day now is coaching other Amazon sellers while also pushing forward my own ventures on the side. And I've been fortunate enough to grow my business to also help produce me a similar number per year to what Kenny's making over the last 5 years. Awesome. Well, with that being said, let's dive into our backgrounds a little bit deeper into what we're actually doing in arbitrage, the issues that we're facing, why we started arbitrage, why we stopped arbitrage, and then we'll move on from there. So we'll start with Dan. Dan, if you just want to go through some detail of what you're doing in arbitrage, what you're buying, what you're selling, and then why you stopped.
Yeah, for sure. So at the very beginning, I saw some YouTube videos. Most of the ones about how to sell on Amazon were about private label, which was definitely intriguing. But it was a pretty big risk. Like, basically, you needed 20, 30 grand to basically risk it all on one product that may or may not go well. So I ended up not pursuing that business model. Unfortunately, I saw some arbitrage and wholesale videos, mostly arbitrage, where people are just going through stores and scanning items profitably and then selling them on Amazon. And I'm like, you know what? This is a really good way to just get my feet wet, dip my toes in the water with $500 or $1,000, learn the ropes. So I decided to start with arbitrage. So my very first arbitrage sourcing trip, I lived right next to like a Target and a Modell's Sporting Goods, like within walking distance of my my apartment. So walked in there with the scanning app and then just started scanning like clearance sections and made some initial buys, sent it to Amazon, and then I saw everything sell really a lot faster than I thought, and for more money than I thought. And I saw like the immense power of the Amazon platform. So that I was basically hooked pretty early on,
Yeah.
like maybe just a few weeks into it. So so then I
Yeah.
visited those stores, branched out a little bit, but realized pretty quickly RA wasn't for me. I'm a pretty like introverted guy. I don't really like being out in a retail store for like 3-4 hours. It's just a lot of people, bright lights. It's just kind of like chaotic in there. And then you've got to like lug the stuff from like into your car and then out of your car into your apartment and then from your apartment and like into a box and then lug the box. It's just like a lot of
Yeah.
lugging stuff around, a lot of mechanic like logistics involved. And also I realized it couldn't really scale. It's like it was tough to procure a huge amount of quantity without
Yeah.
literally touching every item yourself, picking up every item yourself. So, um, so that's when I transitioned into online arbitrage. I'm like, this is much better suited for my personality. It's like I can order a lot more easily. The stuff just gets delivered. I don't have to like put anything into my car and spend like hours scanning shelves and stuff. So online arbitrage, I was doing that for maybe a year or two. I quickly hit pretty big numbers. I think I did around $1 million in revenue my first year, netted like probably around 150K. Yeah, I remember using software like Tactical Arbitrage, which would basically scan an
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
So I'd go through all those major websites. They'd spit out a list of products that I could resell profitably, and then I would just do order after order after order. A lot of online sites, as many people watching know, like they'll have quantity limits of maybe 2 maximum or 6 maximum, 10 maximum. So to get like, let's say 100 of a product or 1,000 of a product, you have to do tons and tons of orders. Eventually though, I found a few sites with like very high quantity limits. Like you could order up to 500 of a SKU at once, and they actually would ship all 500 if they had it in stock. So there's one particular site. I guess I'll just say it. I don't really care anymore. So I was doing a ton of arbitrage with PetSmart. So I probably spent more money at PetSmart than anyone in the entire world for a year or two there. Like
How much do you think you spent in your OA lifetime? How much do you think you spent on PetSmart
Oh,
alone?
easily millions. I mean, probably like 3 to 5 million, I'd say, over like 2 to
insane.
3 years. It was a lot of money that I spent at PetSmart, and I would
Wow.
stack everything. I had it down to a science. So like I'd use Rakuten for cash back. Rakuten had a gift card shop for a while. I don't know if they still do, but
Yep.
I could buy discounted gift cards for another 10% off. Then they had this reward system called Treats, which was another essentially 2% off. But sometimes they had sales where it would be like 5x treats or 10x treats. So there's this big multiplier where I get essentially another 10 to 20% off. And then they'd have like BOGO sales on top of that, like buy 3 get 2 free type of deal. So I'd stack everything I possibly could on top of each other, and essentially got like 65% off. And yeah, it was great for a long while there. And replenishable is the same products. I just replanned for a couple years there. So that was kind of like the end of my arbitrage journey. There were a couple other sites too that I could get big quantity from, but I decided I'm just gonna cut it off completely, like keep it clean, just 100% wholesale, and
Yep.
yeah, no more arbitrage. So,
Okay. So
so
biggest
yeah,
things for you
that's
for switching from sorry,
sorry.
biggest
Go
things for you for switching from arbitrage to wholesale was you had too much hands-on quantity for yourself. You hit a kind of a wall, the maximum scale that you could be doing, and what else? So what were the other blocks you'd say that you're facing with OA?
Yeah, so some account health issues. It was really hard to like win inauthentic complaints when I had like a bunch of order confirmations I had to like slap together in a PDF. Like it worked most of the time, but sometimes it was just really difficult. Reconciling all the stuff was really difficult too. Like I'd have orders canceled or partially canceled, and then they'd like credit money back to my gift cards. I had a list of like 1,000 gift cards that I'm like, I had to like constantly check the balances, be like, oh, this one actually has $100 on it. That's weird.
Yeah.
Some order must have been canceled through the way. So like Reconciling was very difficult. Also got very saturated, so there was a good like year there for a while, but then like everything, people discover arbitrage products, and then all of a sudden, there's 30, 40 sellers flooding onto it, and a lot of beginner sellers are arbitrage sellers, and they're very scared money. Like they don't ever want to like wait at a high price. They're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
I hope this sells. My whole, $1,000 that I invested in this is now at stake here, and they get panicked. They panic,
Yeah.
and then they
Panic
like
sell.
reprice down, 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 all the way to they either break even or even lose money. They're just like, I want my money back. Like this is, a lot of people just get scared when they first start. So,
Yeah.
so the prices became practically break even, sometimes losing, and it would ebb and flow. It depends. A lot of arbitrage products depends on how many sellers. Like when there's a ton of sellers, it's horrible. But then they sell through way too fast, don't have enough quantity. If you're one of the last ones left, you can cash in. But it was just a roller coaster. So I was
Yeah.
kind of tired of that. And
Yeah, it's a lot of what
And
I was
yeah.
facing too with arbitrage. When I was like going to retail outlets, it was great. Had a great year with it. Took like my 10K that I came into Amazon with, like flipped it to probably 100K through retail outlets. But then it got saturated. Everyone started doing RA. Everyone started going to Nike outlets. The Air Monarchs that I used to be able to get for $40 and sell for 110, I now was selling for like 60 and barely making any margin off it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything with arbitrage kind of hits that wall. And then even second to that, more importantly, past the saturation was the account health headaches that I was getting. The inauthentic complaints, my account was constantly at risk of deactivation. And even past that even further, for shoes especially with all the returns and all the leakage, I would send 100 shoes to Amazon, 5 or 10 would get lost, and then I would lose all of my margin and cost of goods of those lost units. And I would struggle to get reimbursements because I only had in-store receipts, and Amazon was very, very hesitant to accept those. So there's a lot of headaches faced with arbitrage for sure. Kenny, I see you sitting over there. Let's hear some of the headaches you had with arbitrage. Give us a little brief overview of what arbitrage looked like for you.
Yeah, so before I got into any big headaches, the learning the ropes type of deal, I spent a lot of time in Walmarts driving around, swinging and missing on a lot of stuff, but then you cash in on a few things. I remember one of my first RA, like, good wins, probably a month or two in, was probably like 50 units of Legos, and I filled up I had an Infinity Q50. I couldn't see out any mirror or any window except my driver window and like half of the driver front window. So that feeling was awesome. And then I just kept chasing that and going for that. Eventually, Walmart became like everybody and their sister knew about it. So then I stopped doing that. Went into like Home Depot, Lowe's, and then like more big wholesalers. So BJ, Sam's. Did a lot of driving around. I went to multiple states. I'm in New England, so I hit every state up here. Went as deep as Virginia, Florida, Utah, even. So there was a lot of traveling, a lot of money spent on travel, gas. My cars were getting destroyed with miles, and I was losing money on that. So there was a lot of headaches, but the reward was definitely good. But it became every day there's a FOMO that's like right over your head. When's the next deal gonna pop up? Do I have to leave this dinner with my friends to go do that? Like, I just didn't want to live that life anymore.
Yeah.
So I knew something more sustainable had to happen, and I had always had thoughts of wholesale and distribution, and I tried a few different things. Nothing really great came of it, but I knew I had the Amazon background and everything. And then the ECG videos started popping up on my Instagram actually of Dan, and I found out he was local and stuff like that. So I saw it was possible, and I wanted to give it a shot. And I knew this was make or break for my Amazon business because I was not running around anymore like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so once you made that turning point and got into wholesale, what did it look like for you? Did you go right to brand direct? Did you do distribution first? What that path of progression looked like?
Yeah, so it was a mix of both at first. Definitely, brand direct takes a lot of time and a lot of outreach and a lot of waiting around. Whereas distribution was a little bit quicker to get responses, accounts open, etc. So I did try a distribution order. It was like $700. I think I still have the product, probably like 50 units out of the 250. It's just there's a lot of headaches with distribution in terms of Amazon hopping on listings when they never were on them, stuff like that. That's what happened to me. But now my whole focus is on brand direct and the coaching side of things.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Love it. And then Dan, for yourself, did you go right from arbitrage into distribution, or do you make the jump all from arbitrage right into brand direct?
Yeah, I went straight to brand direct before I even really knew what I was doing. I mean, I was just seeing before I truly understood wholesale. I just contacted some small brands. So the way I initially found brands to contact, I would look at some stores that looked like they were selling wholesale products. And one hallmark of that is like they carry a whole product line, like every flavor of a product or every color or a bunch of different SKUs from a single brand. That if you see a store like that, it probably means it's more of a wholesale relationship. So I'm like, okay, I'll just contact this brand and see what happens. And a lot of the smaller, medium-sized brands will just work directly with a retailer. So I think, if I can recall, some of the very first accounts I got were just small, like mom and pop brands that were like, yeah, sure, we'll sell to you. And I was very nervous to do that, but yeah, those were the very first ones I got, and then I got a couple distributor accounts after that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a progression from like arbitrage to distributors, then to brand direct. I mean, you can go straight into brand direct because there's small brands, medium brands, large brands, like the right type of brand for wherever you are in your Amazon business.
So someone with 20K, maybe 15, 20K in capital right now, wanting to get into Amazon, hasn't sold a single product, hasn't bought a single product. Would you advise them to go to arbitrage first, distribution first, or are they okay to go to brand direct right off the bat?
I would go to brand direct right off the bat, or a combination of brand direct and distribution. Arbitrage is a great way to get started with a very low amount of capital, just to like understand the basics of like, what are Amazon fees, like the SKU economics of like, if I buy this for 5 and sell it for 15, like what type of fees are Amazon taking out, and then doing the very basics, like, your very first Amazon shipments and like pricing your products, all that stuff. But you can learn all that with brand direct right off the bat as well. But I'd say only go to arbitrage if like you're very limited on capital and you want like a very low stakes way to understand Amazon. But if you do have the capital, I would just cut out all the time and headache of arbitrage altogether and just build, what is the right way to do Amazon, which is brand direct or distribution. So.
Yeah, and let's dig into that a little bit. Why would you say brand direct is the right way to do Amazon? Is it risk? Is it profitability? What kind of goes into that?
Yeah, it's largely to do with risk. So these days, Amazon is gating off like more and more brands every single day. Especially large brands, which are the most like arbitrage brands out there. So I think so as an arbitrage seller, you do have the risk of a brand suddenly getting gated, like Nike being a huge example recently. And they seem to just go back and forth, like just overnight you'll get an email from Amazon like Nike products are now gated as of today, and then if you have inventory, it's just kind of stuck there. And then you might just take a huge L because you can't move the inventory anywhere else. And Nike's like a prime example, but there's so many more. I mean, there's a lot of like everyday health and household brands, beauty brands, clothing brands. I'm just seeing it left and right happening. And it's also tougher to get ungated for these brands too. So like new accounts will be unapproved to sell a lot of things. And then nowadays Amazon, like a retail receipt is not going to cut it anymore, where you buy 10 units and submit it and get approved to sell the brand. Now Amazon is asking for orders of 300 or 400 units from a distributor or from the brand directly. So basically to get approved to sell it, you kind of need a wholesale relationship. To not have your inventory just like stuck all of a sudden when you get regated for a brand, it's important to have that direct relationship with the brand, because once a brand authorizes you, they can invite you to what's called their brand registry as an authorized reseller, and it essentially ensures 99% of the time that you are good to sell that brand, even if Amazon gates off all the other sellers. So Having that direct relationship with a brand is just makes everything way more secure for you. Like arbitrage, at the end of the day, you're selling products that the brand does not want you to sell. They don't know who you are. They don't want you to retail their products. It's just like making a quick buck under the radar, and you're at the mercy of both the Amazon platform and what the brand may do to you, which is like file intellectual property complaints, send you cease and desist letters, shut down the listings unexpectedly. There's just so much that can happen with arbitrage that I think by far the safest way to sell on Amazon is to either be a brand or work directly with a brand. And that's what Amazon wants to do. So,
100%. And I have a secondary question that then we'll jump to, okay, how do you actually do brand direct? How do you land these brands? But if you were still doing arbitrage current day and you didn't go to brand direct, what do you think you'd be at right now for yearly sales? And do you think you'd actually have a cap still?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, realistically, I mean, I'm a pretty smart, crafty guy. Like, I'm sure I can make it work to an extent. I think it would be a lot harder to scale arbitrage though to where I am today. I think I'd probably be in like the 3 to 5 million a year range, maybe touch 8 figures, and that's kind of like the pinnacle of what I've ever heard an arbitrage seller would be able to do. And I'd like to think that I am smart and hardworking enough to hit that as well. But if you look at where I am right now, I'm going to touch $30 million this year in sales. So 3x, basically like my best case scenario that I could possibly imagine myself doing with arbitrage.
Yeah.
And then as for account health, who knows? There's I'd say honestly probably about a coin flip of a chance that like I would have a Section 3 deactivation and not be able to sell anymore. So that's my.
And if you look 5-10 years down the road, the ceiling of brand direct, like your ultimate goal is to get to 100 million a year. That's untouchable for arbitrage. It's not even a question.
Yeah, I'd say it's virtually impossible to procure enough quantity to be able to sell 100 million a year. Even with a team of like 20, 30, 50 people like on the streets trying to get to every store, like constantly looking for leads, I think it would still be virtually impossible.
Yeah, I agree. Kenny, I want to ask you, and then again, we'll move to how to actually do this, because now we're going, brand direct, and we'll explain how we're actually going to go and actually do this. But Kenny, so last year, what did you make with arbitrage? This year, what are you estimated to make with wholesale? We'll pose the question that way for you.
So last year I finished up with just like 95% retail arbitrage. I finished at 800,000. So that was, and I made probably 180 off of that. So the margins and the money was very good, but the amount of time, effort, stress on my body, like throwing my back out, lifting like boxes that were way too heavy, just stuff like that, it was not worth it anymore. And then for wholesale, I'm already on track to be doing like double, triple that. And then that's with like 2 to 3 different brands that I barely touch the product with. So it's a lot easier. It's a better mental space to be in as well. A lot of less stress overall, where it felt like RA was more of like a side hustle, and this feels more of like this is setting up my future for a house, kids, everything like that. So
definitely,
really
you're a couple years, as am I, a couple years back from where Dan's at right now, and so come 5 years from now, that will look a lot different. And brand direct gives you the opportunity to get to that level. So now that we've kind of installed that brand direct is the natural best path of progression for anyone getting into Amazon or anyone currently selling, let's dive into a little bit of actually how to do brand direct, which, as we know, all starts with brand research and brand outreach. So Kenny, I'll start with you here. You kind of have the modern sense of what this looks like. How did you go about? Go ahead, Dan.
And Kenny, in our program, when he was a student, he made basically a speed run to like get like 50 accounts in 2 months. Like, it was actually astonishing.
It was
every
like
day,
115. I think it was 100 plus. Yeah,
100 plus accounts in like a month or 2 or 3, whatever it was. But I just remember in the Discord, like, there'd literally be like 3 messages a day, like another one, another one, another one, another one. Everyone's like, what the actual F is happening? Kenny was able to obtain accounts much faster than I ever did. Like, in my business, I'd secure one like maybe once a month or something. Kenny got like a couple a day. It was wild. So yeah, I'd love to hear like your exact methodology on what you did. And this was recent too, which is cool. So
Yeah,
info's
it
like
was.
really up to date.
I started out back in, I think my first email outreach was about 2 days after Thanksgiving of 2024. I think I joined the course about 2 days before. So I kind of just went straight into it. I like to tell a lot of the students and clients in our course that like my method was throw as much stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Like don't stop. Keep your head down. Kind of like even when you don't want to send five more emails, spend that extra 10, 15, 20 minutes. Find five more brands to contact. Um, it was more of just like a go go go. That's how I was with RA. Was like okay, I planned on hitting three stores today that were far away. Let's make it five or six. Let's just do it from sun up to sundown. So it was a lot easier on the outreach side of things because you're just sitting on your phone scrolling or on Smart Scout and stuff like that. But yeah, it's you have to want it. That was my thing. Was like I've said to everybody in here, it has to work, and I'm gonna make sure it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like the quote, like the harder you work, the luckier you get, quote unquote.
Yeah,
And I think you basically epitomized that entire thing. It's like you just worked hard, left no stone unturned, throw stuff to the wall, experiment, see what sticks. And I think yeah, that's the perfect mindset to do this.
yeah, and
So yeah,
you start to see patterns when you open up 100 plus accounts. Most of them aren't good accounts. They're not going to be good profitable ones. They're going to give you the runaround of to maybe sell on Amazon, etc. So you kind of find ways to like poke and prod them to see like okay, can I make this work or do I have to kind of avoid this one, go to the next one, try out something different? A lot of out of the box thinking, different sourcing methods, different ways to email, a lot of A/B testing that's talked about in the course. So it's just how bad do you want it was kind of my thing. Like if you just do the same thing over and over and you get no results, you're insane, right? That's the definition. So you do have to change up things, try different things out. So that was like the main. Just now, I stopped outreaching. I haven't outreached in probably a month or two. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the definition of learning. It's you have the same exact conditions and your actions are different. If you get handed the same conversation with the brand twice and you don't change a single thing that you said, you didn't learn anything. You didn't change anything. But if you have the same conversation again and you try a new outreach method, you try a new way to land them, you try a new tactic, whatever it may be, then you learn something. And that's exactly what we're here to do, is provide those lessons that we've learned in our day-to-days down to the students in the course so that they can make that jump to success quicker and they can skip that learning curve that we all had to go through individually. Um, but Kenny, I want to talk a little bit more about your outreach and your brand direct success here. Because one thing that really stood out to me was your ability to land exclusives. Exclusives is not an easy thing to get. Having a contract that's saying that you are the only Amazon seller that they allow for X amount of time. How did you do that? How were you able to land so many exclusives? What like went into that? Do you think it was just the relationships that you built with them? Was there like some secret trick? What went into that?
there's no secret. The way I talk to anybody, either here or in person, is the same way I talk to the brands. I don't talk to them like a robot. I don't just talk about business and buying stuff. I do remember in one of the videos Dan had mentioned like the brand direct model is a relationship based. It's not necessarily about money. I've even heard that from the brands I work with. Um, so building a relationship's huge. Showing them that you're a real person, that you care, um, that their business becomes part of your life. Like I view their business as if I have a fractional ownership. Like I have a responsibility to do on Amazon, and we both get a reward from it. So in terms of exclusivity, I had known that I didn't really want to compete with more sellers. So my first account that was good was a partial exclusive. It was a relationship based exclusive. The guy didn't really want to give it to me at first. Talked to him a little bit about where he was from, where I was from, found out he was local, but had moved out. And he was like, you know what, I see a lot of myself in you. I do want to give you a shot, stuff like that. So we ended up moving forward with that as a partial. It's me and one other seller, and we both get 50-50. So whatever, it's fine. Um, and then I kind of just applied, like, the conversations that you have with people, take any bit of knowledge that you can use and bring it to somebody else. So I brought some stuff from that conversation to another brand, fought for that brand for 2-ish months. Their sales rep was bad, people were sick, the owner didn't want to do anything at the time. Then he was like, you know what, let's just hop on a Zoom call, let's feel it out. That ended up being my best relationship so far. Got that. The guy turned on transparency, kicked everybody off. At first, he only wanted a 6-month contract. He told me he wouldn't do a 1-year contract with the president of the United States, no matter who it is. Then a few months later, I ended up visiting him. We went out to some nice dinners. We had our families meet, or my girlfriend and his families and everything like that. Did a bunch of fun stuff. And he called me when I got back from the trip. He said, that was all I needed to know that I want to work with you for 3 to 5 years plus. He's like, I have no qualms, no issues, nothing. Let's just keep rolling how we're going. That relationship has now turned into, I don't have to hunt for any brands or exclusives myself. He just pushes them onto my plate. He gets a very small commission, a very fair commission, and that relationship is so big. And now I'm also leveraging that with other brands, offering the same type of deal to bring me more brands and stuff like that. So I think I'm at five or six full exclusives, and then 2 or 3 partial exclusives. So
Very nice.
it ranges from, a company doing 10,000 a month to 70,000 a month, and it's just, the thing is, it's me getting all the sales. It's not 20 different sellers. So I'm okay with those numbers for now. I'm going after $100,000+ companies now for exclusives. So I can't
Awesome.
complain. It's awesome. And it's very quick. It's less than a year. So
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely killer. Yeah, incredible job.
That's awesome. Dan, how about yourself? I feel like you're the renowned brand direct king. You kind of coined this term of brand direct in the industry. So, what is it looking like for you? How many exclusives? How big are the accounts? What's that looking like?
Yeah, so let's see. I mean, I've opened over, I'd say 200 to 300, maybe 500 wholesale accounts with brands. And as Kenny mentioned, like not all of them are the best pricing. Not all of them are going to work out for years and years. But basically, I've narrowed it down to like 5 main brands that I have very close relationships with, and then another 10 to 20 that are still good, but not quite the same volume. Like they just do less volume. So I'd say like 5 brands I work with directly constitute maybe 80% of my sales. Like 20 to 25 million of that 30 million is all 5 brands is doing big volume with. Um, and honestly, I'm not totally exclusive with any of them. I'm on a very short list of sellers, like 5 or less authorized resellers for pretty big brands doing like $1 million plus a month in revenue, and that's cool too. I did have a couple exclusives, and one of them, the brand ended up wanting to sell themselves on FBA. So I lost one of them, and then the other one, it was kind of a semi-exclusive, and they went with another reseller. But I kind of wanted them to. The payment terms weren't great. They made me buy a bunch of stock up front. Um, so I have a couple small exclusives, but they're not part of like my main 5 brands. So, but I will still contend that a brand exclusive is the very best thing you can have in the reselling world, because you have total control over everything. You have control over the price. You don't like there's never going to be any price fluctuations. You can always hit your margin. It's just very stable, predictable, and since you're the only one on the listing too, restocking's easier too. Like sometimes when you're on a listing with like 15 other sellers, like people will sell through, then you get this big surge of orders, and you're like, oh crap, I have to restock. I'm going to stock out.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're the only seller, like it's very predictable to like predict what you're going to need, because all the
Yeah.
sales are just you. You get 100% of the sales. So, um, and then also lastly, like if you have exclusives under agreement, those have real value. Like if you have a signed exclusive for a brand, let's say doing 100K revenue a month, and you're netting 20 a month, that's 250K a year under contract. Like someone might actually pay you like $500,000 for that, or like if your business is all those types of contracts, you might be able to sell that to either like a mega seller who just wants to swallow up those deals and contracts, or maybe even like you know private equity or some private buyer that would be interested. So you're actually
Yeah.
creating enterprise value when you get these exclusives too. So I will say Kenny is actually beating me in the exclusive world specifically. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, very impressed by what Kenny's done in year one. And lastly, I'll conclude by saying, like I also don't really do too much reach out anymore too. Like I have so many, like the power of a good account is enormous. Like people underestimate how good like a good account is. Like you need a lot of capital to stay in stock, and before moving on to like brand number two, three, four, five, six, like make sure you're like fully maximizing the brands you do have. And a lot of people I think don't, and they just get shiny light syndrome and are like, I need more accounts to grow. Not necessarily. You need like to fully maximize the accounts you have to grow. So for that reason too, I'm not really like pulling in any new exclusives, but I do firmly believe that I have the ability to basically on command. Like if I tell my buyers like let's do an outreach push to new brands, like we'd be able to rake some in, and then me personally, I could pick up the phone and call and rake some more in. So
Yep.
so it's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I completely agree. Awesome. Just to tie everything together and give kind of a quick recap of what we actually talked over. So just to again summary, arbitrage. It's how we got into it. It's how we were introed into Amazon. We all believe that it's not currently a relevant source of getting goods. It's not the best way you can go if you're going to go to Amazon. And we believe the best way to go into it is brand direct right now. Now, with that and talking about brand direct, there's many ways that you can get into it. There's many ways that you can outreach, but a lot of it comes back to how well you can talk to other people, how well you can sell yourself, and the value props that you bring to these brands of why they should work with you individually versus any other individual that's also contacting them. We talked over how to roll that into an exclusive contract, the value of exclusive contracts and what they bring, and then finally, the skill that they can bring you to. So obviously, with brand direct as a whole, there's a lot to it, and it takes a lot of time to master this information. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about finally here, is how much effort went into this and how much time it took all of us individually and what it's done for us, and now how we're trying to provide that to others by expediting that process. So Dan, if you want to start with you, just talking over how long did it take you to learn all this? How much time and energy did you pour into building this, brand direct enterprise that you do have today?
Yeah, I mean, it took me years of a lot of trial and error, and just learnings. And I'm still learning. It's a never-ending journey, but there are a lot of pieces of the puzzle that, I kind of put together the hard way, and like the mindset required, and like the lens in which to conduct all this brand outreach. Like it took me a few years to fully understand how to approach this, and I've tried to distill all that down into like explaining it like from someone who's been there before, to just save anyone who works with us a lot of time, and also to like frame the business in the right way with the right mindset from the start, which I think is equally important.
100%. 100%. And Kenny, I know we touched on this a little bit earlier when you were talking about just you getting into brand direct, but how much effort, like what does this last year look like for you? How much effort went into building this to where you're at today?
A lot of time, countless hours, all day, all night. A lot of the Amazon background I had helped, so I understood a lot. I understood some basic PPC stuff, but there was plenty of YouTube consumed. There was plenty of course content consumed. Hundreds, if not thousands, of chats read on little tips and tricks, and just like not even responding to them, just being there, reading everything and soaking it all in, and then going and trying it. Um, it was scrolling 2 3 a.m. hoping that something new would pop up, just knowing that there's something. There's a lot of time that goes into it, but if you can put those few hour or not few, but those hard hours in for a few months. It took me about 2 months to start seeing like real success, like that it actually worked, that you can make good money and like basically calculate your whole year's revenue off of a few brands. So I think it's 100% worth it. I think it's not too hard to grasp, but there's no reason why you can't ask questions, watch YouTube, Google, etc. So
Yeah. 100%, yeah. And lastly, I just want to talk over for actually before that, for myself this past year, everyone on the team, and I think the clients have seen it. The keynote of this is, I think, my birthday when Dan texted me saying, "Go have a drink," and I said, "No, I'm working." But the same thing for me. It's this whole year has been the hardest push I think I've ever made in my life. 80, 90-hour weeks every week, waking up, constantly working, pushing. And again, all this is to develop the path for the company and for the others that we're involved with and the clients that we're involved with. But the last thing I want to touch on here is what Amazon has done for your life and the path of your guys' lives. I know Dan obviously touched on a little bit with the real estate into obviously the life he's living now, living in Colombia right now, Miami, Boston, traveling around. So Dan, what has Amazon really done for you in your life?
Yeah, no, it definitely changed my life. Financially, of course, that's helped a lot, but it's also changed my life socially as well. Like joining the Amazon world has been great socially because every other Amazon seller, there's just so much camaraderie because it's just this interesting, exciting niche where like you can just easily talk to any other Amazon seller like forever. So I've met a lot of people through my social media and just at conferences and stuff. So there are a lot of other Amazon sellers that I'm happy to call friends. So it's really enriched my social life too. And then lastly, the absolute time freedom I have now. Like I've built a business that essentially runs without me, or at the very least, I can work remotely anywhere in the world. So currently I'm in Medellin, Colombia, here for a month, just living the most luxurious lifestyle possible for a pretty cheap cost of living too. But it's a pretty surreal feeling knowing that I can literally do anything I want here, go anywhere I want, anywhere in the world, and I basically can't spend money fast enough. It's like my net worth goes up every single day at the end of the day from Amazon profits. Like what I
Awesome.
spend this month, I'll like probably won't even touch like one day of profit from my Amazon business, which is pretty nuts. So like time freedom and just lifestyle freedom, all while getting more and more wealthy every day is pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for having discovered Amazon and grinded through it and gotten it to this point. It's yeah, I'm very lucky. I think all of
Yeah.
us are to have
No,
found this.
100%. Yeah. And I want to remind everyone, it took Dan 7 years to get to this point. There's a lot of work that went into it. It didn't happen overnight. And right now, I'm in kind of the push period of this all to try to get him to a point where 5 years from now I can live a lifestyle like that. But I'm starting to see, obviously, the financials are creeping up again, making a healthy amount of money, and where I'm comfortable, I don't have to worry about things. I have 2 apartments in 2 different cities. I'm able to travel whenever I want to, work from wherever I want to. But again, I'm still continuing to push as hard as I can, even though I probably could dial it back right now because I want to hit that next level of where Dan is and keep my foot on the gas to the point where I'm at, where Dan's at. But finally, Kenny, I'll let you wrap it up. What has Amazon done for you? What has it done for your life?
More
yeah,
time on the golf course.
yeah.
Seriously, seriously.
There's a lot of golf that happens. But no, it allowed me to
Yeah.
like leave my high school job that I was basically in line to take over when the owner did pass away due to his age. Um, he still is with us. He's still doing good, but the that was the kind of path that I was on, was maybe making 80K a year owning an ice cream shop, working all day every day, and dealing with stuff that is really not worth it. So that was the path I was looking at. Amazon definitely, it changed the trajectory of where I was going. I think it's allowed me to live a lot of freedom at my age. I'm only 23, but since I was 21, I've been basically doing whatever, going wherever I want, traveling, going to concerts whenever. Um, I think I think the freedom and financial stuff is starting to show itself where I feel good for the next few years as well. But yeah, it's there. One of the big things that kind of changed in my life as like a turning point or like a holy crap moment was when I never got a real job out of college. I graduated in 2024. When I was applying for an internship with a big company, they wanted me. They were like, "You're a top candidate." And then I had put on my resume that I had done some Amazon, and it became a conflict of interest. And they were asking me to be completely transparent. I told them the numbers I was doing in like the first quarter, and they literally said on the phone like, "What the f are you doing? Even applying for an internship?" And that was kind of the stone that I was like, okay, that's all I needed to hear. I'm just gonna keep going deeper with this. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's definitely changed a lot of things.
Love it. That's awesome. Well, for everyone watching, if you're watching this and you're interested in learning more from myself, Dan, and Kenny, feel free to go right below this video. There's a link to our website to learn a little bit more about what we actually coach and what we actually teach, and more of the actual tangible insights that we give. Feel free to take a look at that, book in a call with our team, and start to learn more and see if you're a good fit for the program. If you've already booked a call and you're waiting to get on the call and on the phone with our team to talk more, we look forward to talking to you soon. But thank you everyone for watching. Dan and Kenny, thanks for spending the time with me. And hopefully we'll see you guys inside.